Hello and welcome to another edition of Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah and you are watching Diaspora Network Television, aka DNT. Today, we have great conversation coming up. Educative, but awesome. Off the roof. But before you meet my guests, like we always do, the jungle, Jermaine's angle. So stay tuned. I'll be back. So in today's jungle, let's talk about two people. One plays by the rules, the other doesn't. In life, when you play by the rules and you work hard, you're going to get there. You will do well, but it takes a long time. Meanwhile, the guy that's breaking every rule, he gets ahead on time. If you want to steal, you become rich overnight. But the problem is, there are a lot of issues that come along with it. Why do I bring these two people? Now we talk about two countries. I know people, let's take Ghana for example. People are complaining, oh, this and that. But others from outside look at Ghana and say, look, you guys are happy you got it all. Maybe you don't have money in your pocket, but you're at least able to speak. You have the basics of what democracy is all about. And so even if you're not rich yet, eventually you're going to get there. But there are some other countries where you see in the images, there's glitz, everything looks good, but go into the neighborhood and talk to the people. People are hurting inside. You see what I'm saying? So you, the viewer, I'm asking you this. Which of these two countries would you rather be in? The one that has the glitz outside and outsiders say, hey, look, this country is blah, 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 everything is great, but you living inside, you're not happy. Just like living in a home, your father is famous, rich, but he comes home and he slaps you all over the place. But, oh yeah, you're the so and so far. You guys are doing great. But then you go to a family that's not doing very well, but they're constantly happy. The father is playing with the kids and everything. These are two countries. So as we talk about that in Africa, how do we want to grow? Do we want our countries to get overnight glitzy for visitors to come in? Or do we want to develop our countries for the indigenous? That's the question you have to answer. And for today, that's the jungle. We'll be back to meet my guests. Stay tuned.
We wake up every morning to different stories from politics, business, sports, and entertainment. These stories, one way or the other, affect our lifestyle and dealings with family, friends, and business associates. Your take on Diaspora Network Television gives you an opportunity to have your take on these pertinent issues via phone in and messages to our social media platforms, DNT Ghana on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If it's an important trending story, we will definitely talk about it. Your take with me, Yalsichi, on DNT.
Would you buy anything without first knowing exactly what the product was and how it could benefit you? Definitely not. Neither should you vote for your next member of parliament without knowing who they are and how they plan to solve your problems. Watch The Next MP only on Diaspora Network Television and find out the men and women who want to represent you in parliament. The Next MP only on DNT.
Hello and welcome back. Today we're talking Africa, the ins and outs of Africa, the good, the bad, and the ugly of Africa. You hear good, you hear bad, but you're going to hear some stuff about Africa that you probably have never heard before. And who's going to give us all that? I want you to meet my beautiful guests. Young, but for her age, she knows a ton about Africa. Please help me welcome Mary Eudice Bitiki Aqua. Welcome.
Thank you.
You are a unique breed. You don't walk down the street and meet someone who's half Ghanaian and half Rwandese. Do you know of anybody like that?
No.
How did your parents meet?
In Europe, in Italy.
In Europe, in Italy?
Mm.
Okay. So Which one do you claim more, Ghana or
Ghana?
Ghana. Oh my goodness. Do you speak? You speak the language? You speak the Chi, but you also speak any Rwandese language? Kakra. Really? Which one do you speak more?
Chi.
Chi. Oh wow. And where have you spent more of your time?
Italy.
Italy, right?
Yeah.
But between Ghana and Rwanda, which one?
Ghana.
You spend more time in Ghana.
When I was a child, Rwanda, yeah.
Okay.
But that was when I was 5 to
okay.
to 8.
Okay.
But then I spend much more time in Ghana.
Yeah, but you have family there.
Oh yes.
And you have family here.
Yeah.
Okay. That's, I'm jealous. I have family only. I'm in Ghana. You have family in Ghana and in Rwanda, and you grew up in Italy, and you went to school in South Africa, and you've gone to about 13 African countries.
That's true.
You are African Union. So let's talk about African Union. How about that?
Oh yeah, sure.
Good. What is going on with African Union? When you look at African Union, what do you think?
A failing organization.
A failing organization.
Yes.
Well, that's good. At least it's not failed yet. It's a failing
organization. It's a failing organization because we haven't seen the fruitful result of having the really African Union as what we have as European Union today. I wish, and really, really my wish, that we'll one day, sooner than later, I don't want to grow old to experience one Africa with no borders.
Yeah.
One Africa with one currency.
You want to see it now?
I want to see it now. One Africa with one president.
Okay. But in Ghana, some will say even in Ghana, Ashantis, Fantis, Gas, Ewes, they don't get along. How much more do you want a Fanti in which you are a Fanti, right?
No, I'm Asante. I'm Asante. Asante. From Asin, Asempani to Asin, Jaka, Asin Fusu,
so
they're all Asantes.
They're Asantes, okay. So how much more an Asante woman to get along with a Tutsi person?
Well, it's a problem that's still really lingering in Africa, and I hope that with us, it started with me, and with you, and with the person next to me, and the teaching. Most of the time that we have to do, that we still have to do.
Okay.
I think experience it more than actually a pure Fanti or a pure Asante.
Okay.
How many times do I get, are you a really Ghanaian?
Oh, really?
You know, that question.
Well, maybe because of your intonation.
Not only intonation, I think with the look too.
The look,
There's a certain way they think they expect a Ghanaian to look like.
Okay.
You know, or they'll be like, oh, you look like an Ewe, or you look like a Fanti.
But
we're
all Africans.
But we're all Africans.
Okay.
After, I'll go to the bank and I'll tell the person, oh, I didn't know you were Ghanaian. I'm like, oh, so what did you think I was?
My name is right there. Aqua.
My passport is there. And am I not black?
Yeah.
Enough?
Yeah. So your parents, are they still married?
No, they are not more.
Okay. How long were they married?
4 years.
4 years, okay.
For 7 years?
For 7 years.
Before they died, of course.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They are no more.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that. Okay, but what did you witness in terms of how they got along?
To be honest, I was a child.
Okay.
I was a child. My mother died first.
Okay.
But my dad, I can tell he really loved this woman so deeply.
Okay.
So deeply. And according to what I hear, it was a very beautiful relationship and marriage.
You never really knew her?
No.
Okay.
2 years when
so now, as half Ghanaian, half Rwandan, if a young man walks up to marry you, does he have to be from a particular country in Africa?
No. As long as you love me and I love him.
Can he be Japanese?
Well, I'm not racist, but I like telling people I don't see myself marrying a person who's not black.
Okay.
Personally, I'm attracted. I'm not racist, but personally, I'm attracted to my own kind.
Your own kind. Okay. So that's the side. All right. So you're Pan-Africanist.
Yeah.
And then you see African Union and you see a failing organization.
Oh, yes.
What is it? Is it the way it's structured or is it leadership?
No, if you see to the time Kwame Nkrumah started it, and up to now, how many years? And we still going into the same cycle as the Israelites going into Canaan and they never arrived. There was just
Why do you think we don't seem to be able to move forward?
First, because I think the interference of outside world and the lack of willingness from our leaders and for some reason selfishness, because I think we Africans, we still having this thing like can I give up my power? Can we get the point of where I will trust the other person to lead me?
Yeah.
What if someone becomes a president, so I'm no longer a president?
Yeah.
So is that kind of
We have it in Ghana.
I think when I speak to my friends or to as a students, most of my colleagues, I think majority of us feel like how we wish we could just have one continent.
Okay.
Right? Whether the president will come from Ghana or from Nigeria or from wherever, we don't care. As long as we won, and I can go to Nigeria without having to.
But you see, maybe don't we need to get away from this mindset? Look, if you're president of Uganda, Museveni, and you don't want to leave, and you don't really have the smarts to, you're only messing up Uganda. So me in Ghana, I can live with that. But can you imagine having one president of Africa who, for some reason, also have that tendency, and I don't want to leave?
Well,
then you're messing all of us
I
up.
think we are now a little bit civilized. We are no longer in 80s, 70 something. I think my generation at least, we understand that we can overcome that. If we come together and have a constitution and have all us coming together and say, you know what, we are going to be one and we're going to have, I think actually there is more mess if we are divided than if we come as one. He can rule for longer, messing up Ugandese, but the more Uganda is being messed up, the more Africa is being messed up as a whole.
I know, but I'm saying that don't we need to tackle that mentality first? Okay, because Paul Biya in Cameroon, Museveni in Uganda, now Ouattara in Ivory Coast, he doesn't want to leave. Alpha Conde, Guinea, he doesn't want to leave. Paul Kagame, he's been there forever, he doesn't want to leave. Don't we need to get away from this mindset before we even start talking about one Africa?
Well, I would say this way.
And by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt. We have the one person who can be considered the president of Africa, who is the African Union Commission chair, Musa Faki. He's not even working with, he's now working with South African Ramaphosa to even eliminate competition. So he's the only one running in February. So that mindset need to go before we even talk about one Africa.
To me, I think it all starts with us, people on ground.
Okay.
If we have to use our academics, if we have to use students, if we have, I always believe some countries in Africa are way ahead of others.
Okay.
When I'm coming in Ghana and I see the democracy, the freedom of speech, people can express themselves, it's a beautiful thing. But when we're talking of those countries where still having dictators, people can't even talk. Right? Even when I can sit with you here talking of African Union, but those people can't even think of even talking of African Union because what they see, those countries.
Okay, you are from Uganda, Rwanda.
I'm from Ghana.
You're from Ghana, half Rwanda.
Yeah, but there's a difference between me as Ghanaian Rwandese to a typical Ghanaian Rwandese. Or there's a difference between a Rwandese who are outside and a Rwandese who's in Rwanda.
What's the difference?
Well, the difference is the people in Rwanda are really not informed. First of all, the media is controlled. Controlled. The news, they don't really get updated because there's some news that are being buried, the censor.
Really?
Yeah, yes, true.
So you're talking about, if we start talking about Paul Kagame right now, they'll block it from playing in
No, they're probably not going to see it in Rwanda.
Really?
Oh, no.
So you're telling me Rwanda,
there are
that's
some
the
news,
poster child for African
there are some
success.
news or some YouTube, whatever, that can't be seen in Rwanda. And
Really?
in fact, you can't even search it. You can't get it. Oh yeah, it's almost run like a Chinese system, where things are being sensed, and there's some information you can't get. And even as a journalist, you are restricted. The kind of question you ask a leader or what you publish, everything. There are many media, whatever, that have been closed because they breached the contract or they dared.
If I take my phone, I'm a Ghanaian, I go to Rwanda, and I'm searching for some information about Paul Kagame and his bad, I will not be able to
You're
get it.
probably not going to get it.
Interesting.
Right.
Okay.
It's so fascinating how sometimes I talk to people the other side and they'll be like, "Ooh, we are so developed. We actually far developed than Cape Town. We are far developed," because that's the news they have. That this is what they know. You know, they're not being given much more information. And when I say no, actually Accra is far more developed than the other side, they wouldn't believe it. Right?
Accra is more developed than Kigali.
When we talk of infrastructure, oh yes, we can't compare.
Wait, you know Accra and you know Kigali.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I have friends that put on their Facebook, "Oh my goodness, Kigali is the."
Oh no.
What do
come
they
on.
know that? Really?
Yeah. Okay. I know Kigali very well,
Okay.
and I know Accra
Okay.
so well. Accra got the interchanges. I mean the roads. Even me myself, when I'm driving in Accra, and I'm like, I think Accra is getting there. The infrastructure, even, I think they are competing with Cape Town. The only problem maybe is the order, the cleanliness,
Okay.
the direction signs.
Okay.
You know, that we don't have. But when it comes to robust infrastructure, Ghana has it.
More than Rwanda.
Oh, you can't compare.
Really?
Does Rwanda have interchanges? No. Does Rwanda have highways of 5 lanes, 6 lanes that we are enjoying in Ghana? They don't.
Interesting.
Right?
So
You can
okay,
compare.
but you say the cleanliness and the order. is
Rwanda
where-
has a structure that is more on the other side. Yeah, they are doing well on that level. Cleanliness,
Okay.
beautiful. They are really way ahead
All
of
right.
Ghana.
So between, if you are building a country, and you had the current president of Ghana, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and you had Paul Kagame, which of these two would you give that country to run?
Definitely Akufo-Addo.
Is it because you're in Ghana?
No. Well, I love both countries equally.
Right.
And I love both men equally. But when I'm talking in perspective of an educated person who really sees far, I think Akufo-Addo has more to offer.
Wow.
Because the democratic way of understanding in Ghana is far deeper than in
Okay.
Rwanda.
So which means it falls down to what I was talking about. We may develop, but it'll take a long time for the visible things to
yes.
come around, because you're not just developing in structure cleaner, you're developing a whole country.
The whole country,
The
the
people.
people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You're right.
So is Paul Kagame, somebody told me Paul Kagame is a dictator. Do you agree?
I agree.
Do you agree?
I agree.
What makes him a dictator?
Because there are no challengers,
There are no challenges.
not allowed.
Okay.
There are two women who dared to run for the presidency.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, it didn't end well with them.
What do you mean by it?
Okay, the first was came from a Hutu side. She ran, according to what I know, she left Rwanda in 1994 with her husband and the kids to Sweden, Sweden or Denmark, one of those countries, and they decided to come challenge Kagame. And of course, we have these things in Africa, especially in Rwanda, when you come from the outside and you are from the other tribe, ethnic, it's not tribe, ethnic, Hutus, you may be, especially when you come to challenge the government, you may be perceived as a genocide perpetrator.
Okay.
So she was flagged a genocide perpetrator, a sponsor of opposition,
Okay.
right? So she was thrown in jail.
Okay.
Now came another woman who happened to be a genocide survivor, who happened to be a Tutsi. Would you call her also a genocide perpetrator?
And she too. When you say it didn't end well, what do you mean it did not end well?
Well, first of all, this woman, she comes from a very powerful family. Father who was a financier of the ruling party at the time. The father owned companies and tobacco companies, right? She is very educated.
Okay.
Gigara, right? The woman died. What happened thereafter? It's in the news everywhere. You know what happened?
They died.
They refused. They didn't allow her to run for the presidency. They disqualified her. Then afterwards, threw her in jail. Auctioned the father's company.
Wow.
Right.
There's a man called Rusesabagina.
Rusesabagina.
Yeah, he's been arrested.
I'll talk about that later. The woman ended up in a jail. They destroyed the hotel that was being built by the family. And I wonder, when they were to construct that hotel, where was the city council? How did they allow for them to build up to completion everything?
Right.
To come there and destroy.
So he stifles competition. He doesn't want.
He doesn't want the competition at all. So that's why I say the dictator.
Yeah. What's the story on this, Rusesabagina?
Rusesabagina, he's the author of the Hotel Rwanda, I think, because he saved a lot of Tutsis in a hotel that used to be Mille Collines. And then the guy collaborated with the Hollywood, of course, to make a movie. And he became hero. I think he was crowned by the presidency in the United States.
How was he arrested?
According to what I hear, it's so dodgy, and I think it's kidnapping. The guy left London to UAE in Dubai, and the next thing he knew, he was boarding a private jet, only to find himself in Kigali.
So when he boarded
the family in UK, they're crying for because they think he was kidnapped. Because not his wife, not his kid knew. He never had a plan to go to Kigali.
So when he got on that plane, he thought he was going somewhere else.
Probably he thought he was going somewhere else.
Okay. Final thing on Rwanda. There's a picture of the Obamas when they visited Kigali. And there's a picture of Barack, Michelle, and then Paul Kagame and his daughter.
Yeah.
On the internet. Where was his wife?
Not there.
Why would a daughter be at state functions rather than the wife?
Well, there are some lingering issues in the family, the first family in Kigali, I think, that people don't talk really that much.
Okay.
It's being said in the background, in the YouTube, with some Rwandese community, of course.
Yeah.
And people say, like, oh no, it's just because they're opposition, but it's real because if you see the video, the pictures.
But Angie Kagame is the daughter. She has an older brother who's 2 years older than she is, but she has more power in the government.
Yes, she's a powerhouse in that country. Yeah.
But the brother.
No, he's not.
Why?
I think I don't know if it's maybe the relationship between the brother and the mother.
Okay.
Or the relationship the brother has with other kids of the old the late hero of Rwanda, Kagame, right?
Okay.
Because the son still have that relationship with him, and not only with him. I think the son has maintained the relationship with other many families that has fallen out with his own father.
Okay.
Right.
So he's a black sheep.
So he's a black sheep in a family.
And the next person up is Angie Kagame, who now is the powerhouse in.
No, she is.
She is.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Diaspora Weekly. We'll be right back. We have more explosive stuff coming with Mary Aqua. We'll be right back.
What's cool, fresh and trendy with a new look? Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? You gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you flow. Anytime, anywhere. water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Welcome back. You're hearing stuff that you did not know about from someone who knows. Mary Eudice Bitiki Akwa. Half Rwanda, half Rwandese, half Ghanaian, but you claim Ghana more. So let's talk about the two countries, vis-a-vis.
Yeah.
All right. We know what's going on in Rwanda. You've told us about it. Censorship everywhere. What about Ghana? What do you know about Ghana?
Well, there are things that I see that we take for granted in the country.
We take for granted
Yeah,
here
we
in
take for
Ghana.
granted. Yeah, like
Okay.
freedom of speech.
Okay.
It's something that I treasure so much.
Okay. So why is it important if I live in a country, clean streets, everything, but I can't speak? Why is speech important?
Okay, I think for me personally, I experienced it at a time when I visited. That was years ago back.
Visited where?
Kigali.
Uh-huh.
And one of my family relatives was next to me, and a neighbor came to visit us. And she came and she was asking questions. So are you enjoying here? Are you enjoying everything? And then I remember the person who was next to me is a relative, I'm not going to mention. She was tapping my leg.
Yeah.
It's like a warning, be
Yeah.
careful.
Really?
Be careful what you respond. But I already knew because I know the system. So I was careful to what I was saying. So I was praising. Everything is good. I'm fine.
So you
I'm
can
okay.
even have family
Oh,
conversation?
no. Be careful.
In Rwanda?
Oh, yes. In Rwanda, it's on a level where you don't even trust your own son. You don't even trust your own brother or father.
Because
they may report you, or you don't trust anybody. There's no trust. It's a country that is
There
not...
was a time in Ghana during Kwame Nkrumah's time. And you see, Kwame Nkrumah has also received a lot of praise outside. But he formed what they call the Young Pioneers, where, like, I'm sitting at home, I'm having a conversation with my wife or my family member, and my son hears me talking about Kwame Nkrumah.
Oh,
My son can take me, and the next thing, at 1 o'clock radio news, they mention my name to report at the police station. Are you telling me that's the same thing in
Rwanda it's deeper.
Right now?
In Rwanda, they told me when you're here, when you're about to talk, you first watch the walls, because even the walls can hear.
Wow.
You can't talk even freely at your own table.
So the country Rwanda is developed for Rwandese or for...
It's like a jail in itself. I felt like I was in a jail.
When you go to Rwanda, you feel
I don't feel like, oh God, this is dust here, or the road is really not good. Oh, I don't.
You
can't
just don't
complain, you know. Otherwise, people will look at you like, what's wrong with her, you know? But in Ghana here, I can't even go there and insult Akufo-Addo. Well, I can do whatever thing that I feel I'm displeasure. I can express my displeasure, right? Not let alone even the president, or let alone the city council, whatever. But you can't even criticize a simple MP.
If we did a poll in Rwanda and in Ghana, and the question is simply, are you happy with your country? Which country do you think will score the highest?
Well, manipulations happens. In Ghana, unfortunately, people are like saying because of what they are being fed on the media. Okay. They portray Rwanda as better than Ghana, better than this. And so many Ghanaians, they will have in their mind, we're not happy with the country because leaders are failing us. Now in Rwanda, however, they are being taught, because remember they are controlled, right? They do not know much more information unless those who have traveled.
Okay.
And majority of those who get out of the country don't even return, by the way.
Whoa. Majority of Rwandese?
Unless if they hold a good position.
Okay.
Majority don't. Now, for those who haven't traveled...
You're describing to me North Korea in Africa. Is that what?
It's North Korea, actually. It is. So those Rwandese, you know what you see North Korea praising? Mm-hmm. That's what they do. So they will tell you, we are happy, we are happy, we are happy. This is the Europe of Africa. That's what they are being told. And it's really true, because this is what BBC shows. This is what Al Jazeera shows. Kigali, clean city. Kigali, the Europe of Africa. The Singapore of Africa is what they are trying. But is it really a Singapore of Africa?
What about the other cities in Rwanda?
Are
they just as glitzy as...
No. There used to be Butare, which was the second city. He destroyed it.
Who did?
Kagame. He's now making it the city center, making it in Nyanza, which was the city of the time of our the kings. So what used to the biggest university of Rwanda was used to be in the second city, Butare. A part of the university that was there. Recently, I visited and I felt there is no life.
If what you're saying is true, then when you go back to Kigali, you're in trouble.
Yeah, if it's being published, I'm definitely going to be in trouble.
Wow.
You
All right.
dare not to challenge or to say what's wrong. Okay, here is. I'm not trying to paint a bad image about Rwanda, but it is a time for Africa to start saying what is ugly is ugly. If the color is blue, it's blue. It's not green. If something is green, it's green. We praise what deserves to be praised, and we say what's wrong, where it is wrong, and that is where we're not getting it.
So how would you like a country to be run? Because in Ghana here, when we have freedom of speech, people are going to, even when something is black, they're going to try to say it's white because they don't like the government. That's bad. And then when you have a place where the dictator, you can't talk, I like what's going on, I'm going to do this, blah, 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 that's also bad. So how do we do it?
Well, I think we need to restructure the way things are done in Africa. In Ghana, for example, I like the political scene. I just do not like maybe the corruption.
Okay.
Those are things that we still have to work on, which if you're really willing to do that, it's easy.
Okay.
But let's talk about the other side, the dictatorship.
Okay.
How do you deal with it? They say there's no corruption in Rwanda. Truly, there's no corruption because people fear. It's not out of that good...
So there's no corruption in Rwanda?
When they say there's no corruption, in which way, I don't know what they call corruption. If it's to pay for the service, yeah, that you don't get service because you paid. That is a good thing that I like about it. A police stops you, you're lucky not to get a bribe. He will release if you want to, or you're gonna get fined. There is no corruption. It's a zero corruption country. But again, at what expense? Because people...
There are a lot of people in Ghana who choose that over what we have here.
But how do you get to choose it when you can also not have a freedom? How many people have lost their homes in Kigali or around the surrounding of Kigali because a rich person or a so-and-so, the government want the land and for free? Would the Ghanaian would take it?
No, Ghana, you will be compensated.
Okay, you want to be compensated? Mostly in cases in Kigali you won't.
Wow.
And they'll be telling you, take your roofs, take your doors, take everything that you feel valuable, off you go. Or we're gonna give you something that was 20 million. We're gonna give you 500,000. Are you going to be happy?
Right. So leadership in Africa. What do you see? I mean,
I think leadership in Africa, until when we Africans start thinking, I'm here to serve my people. I'm here to make my people much more better. Right? That is what we're lacking in Africa. In Africa, it's about me. So when you become a ruler, you benefit more and not your people.
you've also lived in South Africa. What was it like?
Well, South Africa is even worse.
Wait, you are a lot of people in Ghana right now. Oh, I'm going on vacation in South Africa. Oh, I'm going on vacation. But you're telling me, you just got through telling us the real story about Rwanda and South Africa.
You
is
see,
worse.
I like you saying, when you visit Rwanda or when you visit South Africa, where do you go? And where do you stay?
In
And
the
who do you
hotels
see?
and- yeah.
Definitely, you see. And that is a very wrong image. Let's say, for example, I lived my whole time in Cape Town. And in Cape Town. So I know much more of Cape Town, which is perceived to be a white city, a European city of South Africa, right? So when a Ghanaian goes to South Africa, he's likely going to stay in waterfront, or going to stay in Central City, or some of us who of course lived in the good areas will receive our brothers and sisters come to visit. You can come stay by me, and it's in a good area. But is that really a representation of Cape Town? Or representation of the whole South Africa? No. Because the majority of South Africans are living in a way that Ghanaians don't live. The Zongo of Ghana that we laugh at or we think is a bad life, it's 1,000 times better than what we call township life in South Africa.
Whoa. Time out. Zongos, or let's say the poor areas in any city in Ghana. You are saying the standard of living in those areas are better than the townships in South Africa?
100 times.
Why do you say that?
Well,
You've seen both, by the way.
I've seen both.
You've seen both.
I have seen both and have visited both. In South Africa, I have friends, I've got colleagues, classmates living in those areas. But I can tell you, it's a hell. And if you're an African and you see your African people living that lifestyle, it
hurts.
It hurts.
What is Ramaphosa doing about it?
Well, I think they use it for political reasons. They are not really doing anything about it. And of course, education. When I see Ghana, I'm so happy that they made the SHS free, because education is very important for us to develop as people, as human beings. In South Africa, how many black people are going to school? Our sisters and brothers making children. How many of those children end up in school? Go to South Africa and see.
They don't have free education in South Africa.
It can be, in primary, some areas can be called free, but it's really not education.
Okay.
Because good teachers don't want to go to that side.
Okay.
The schools don't have, at one point even in Eastern Cape, the whole province was struggling. We're talking of South Africa. Struggling to get even books.
Wow.
In schools. Because the province is majority black. There are no white people there.
So it sounds to me like, but you see South Africa, you see successful country.
Oh no.
Interchanges, a lot of MTN is from there, ShopRite is from there. They are the ones that are...
Who own the ShopRite? Who owns MTN? That's why they say the level of poor and rich.
Yeah, the disparity. The
disparity is way too big. The gap is way too big than Ghana. We're talking of 80%. There used to be 9%. By the way, the white minority in South Africa, the population, according to the recent research, are not growing. They are rather shrinking. Because we have more of the younger, our colleagues, white, who study with us, who finish and they don't want to study, to work in South Africa. They rather own the land but go to Australia, or become Australians, or become British. So the society isn't growing. So it's rather shrinking. Now we're going to 8%. But as they shrink, their wealth expands still. They still own almost 70% of the economy, 80% of the land. So in 50-something million, almost 60 million, how many are black people, how many are white people? And in those, if they own 80% of the land, you can imagine those million black people.
Indians, the Afrikaans, right? Is that who they call the Afrikaans?
Oh no, they are not. The Afrikaners are Dutch descent, white Dutch descent, right?
Okay.
Which are the ones who they are farmers.
Okay.
And we have Indians in Durban, which is KwaZulu-Natal province. That's where they stay a lot. In Cape Town, however, we have the so-called colored. It's the only country that's called mixed race colored. I don't know if it's true, but this is real. According to what I hear, there are so many, they may call themselves colored, but they are different kind of race. They are Asians.
Okay.
Some are mixed.
So they're mixed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here, long ago, there were Indonesians who were brought in the country by white people, and there's mixage between them with indigenous Khoisans, and a lot of things going on.
So there's a lot of discontent within
yes.
the black community.
And in Cape Town, like I've experienced it more. The lighter you are, the chances. Or if you speak Afrikaans, the closer you are to get a job than if you speak indigenous Xhosa.
Wait. What did you just do?
Xhosa.
What?
Xhosa.
Xhosa. Okay. Xhosa.
So, even in the townships also, the township of coloreds are much more polished than the township of black people. So when we're talking of typical township, we're talking of a black people's area.
So in your since Nelson Mandela walked out of jail to become president of South Africa, what have you seen happen? I mean, have the people benefited from black leadership?
I know people are going to hate me when I say this, but I hope they're not going to hate me. Please, people, don't hate me. I do not personally think Nelson Mandela did something for his people.
You're the second person to tell me that.
He didn't. And the praise that he gets in an international stage, the white people praised him because he gave them exactly what they wanted.
Really?
Yes.
You're the second person to say Nelson Mandela did not help his
No, he
black
didn't.
people. In what way? Why are you saying?
The reason why I keep saying I praise the free SHS, because when he came to power,
You praise who?
the free SHS of Ghana,
Okay, okay.
when he came to power, it was like everything for free. Houses for free, health for free, everything for free. And instead of telling people we can only conquer these people, compete with these people by education, give the black people education. They
Nelson
didn't.
Mandela and the subsequent leaders have not
They
focused on
didn't.
educating the
They
blacks in
didn't.
Africa. South
When you go to hospitals in South Africa, all doctors are white. If you go, they construct the roads. All the roads are the engineers are white. You only gonna see black digging the roads. Even to the point that, like, I'm an engineer, I'm a mechanical engineer. If you finish your degree, whatever, you're likely going to be headed by a white person who's not even in your level, because they're the one who own the industry. Okay? So the education, if you see in universities, if you see a black person teaching in engineering or medicine, whatever, it's likely a Nigerian or a Cameroonian or a Ghanaian.
That's why they hate.
Okay.
Okay, so that's where the genocide is coming from.
Yes, because sometimes they like saying, okay, you are killing these people because you think they're taking their job, but you are killing a doctor, are you going to become a doctor? You are killing an engineer, are you going to replace him as an engineer? Because they're not studying.
Is it the government that's not educating the people, or is it the
I
people who don't want to learn?
It's a system. The same way Ghana now, we are trying to make a free SHS, give education to whatever. They could have done it for years. Now, when he took power, what did he do? Did he encourage the youngsters to go to school, go to learn, become doctors, become engineers?
He didn't focus on that.
They didn't focus on that.
And who came after that? Becky came after that.
Becky came after that. It is a continuation of saying, oh, produce kids, we're going to give you grants, we're going to give you houses, we're going to... These people, they are not even thinking at all of competition, of saying, you know what, we can do it better. We can also... Actually, foreigners are doing far better in that country than their own citizens, not because there's a cheating, because they know they work hard, right? The citizens, black citizens, it's about, there is no policy of uplifting
So why
them.
do they hate fellow blacks instead of white people or other people?
Okay, when there's no xenophobic, right? Everything is harmonious. A part of them, they are culture of saying, oh, you don't talk my language, or then you are a foreigner, or she's from Africa. So surprisingly, they don't see, majority of them don't be surprised when they say he's from Africa, as if South Africa is not part of Africa.
Really? Wait,
Yes.
South African blacks
Yes.
will point to a
Oh
Nigerian
yeah,
or Ghanaian
they used to
and
come to me most of the time. They think I'm South African, and I'm like, no, I can't talk close. I was speaking in a broken way, and I'm like, oh, you're from Africa. Then I ask, hang on, where am I? Am I in the United States? Am I not in the Cape Town? Is it not part of Africa, or is it an island? Yeah, that's what you experience. You won't experience it if you're not part of them, because if you are studying and you're living with them daily, then you get to understand. But if you're a visitor person, you wouldn't know.
Interesting. So, Ramaphosa right now, good leader, bad leader?
Very bad.
Very bad.
Yeah.
Ramaphosa, Kagame, who would you choose?
Each one is good and bad in its own way. But again, I wouldn't choose either.
You don't choose either?
No.
Somebody told me Ramaphosa, Cyril Ramaphosa, president of South Africa, is the Donald Trump of Africa. Do you agree?
I think he's worse than Donald Trump.
Well, how is it worse to be? How is it even possible? Come on.
Because Donald Trump does mistakes and stood by it, and he's like, this is what I want. The man over there doesn't even know what he's doing. Does he really decide? I don't think so. I think the white people decide for him. The Minister of Finance, what's his name? Pravin Gordhan decide. I think the
Minister of Finance is white?
Pravin Gordhan. He's a colored. But to me, it's more white. The previous one, who was the chancellor of actually my university at one point, what's his name? They are the cycle that rules, not
So
him.
how did Ramaphosa become president of South Africa?
When there's a hierarchy in the ruling party, ANC, and he was a deputy of Zuma at the time. So when Zuma was kicked out, he was the next.
How was Zuma
There was election. Zuma, there was speculation that he was failing at the time. Now we must understand, when you going against white people's interest,
They will come after you.
they'll come after you.
And Zuma was going after
Zuma
white people,
yes. He introduced the BEE.
which is
BEE is Black Empowerment, something, we call it BEE.
okay.
So the BEE was being established in a certain way that every company in South Africa must have at least 40% or 50% of black
People working there
in executive.
in executive.
Yes.
Brilliant idea.
So we had many companies that never had even a black person in a CEO to the director managers or white. So they were now being forced to actually hire black people.
And the white
Whether they like it
people
or not.
engineered that he's failing.
So that wasn't really settling well with them. Okay.
Okay.
When it comes to universities, BEE has to be applied.
Okay. So let's stick with that. Okay, because I want to paint the picture. When Ramaphosa was head of the African National Congress, which is the leading party, Zuma was president of South Africa.
No, Ramaphosa wasn't then president. He in the South African constitution, mostly how it works. If you are the president of ANC, then you are also the president of the country. At the time, Zuma was the president of ANC and was the president of the country.
Okay. And so they forced him to resign because he wasn't the president of the
ANC anymore, yeah.
Okay. So viewers, for Ghanaians, let me put this in Ghanaian context. Currently, the ruling party is NPP. And the chairman is Freddie Blay. And the president of Ghana is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. If this was in South Africa, they will ask Nana Akufo-Addo to resign because you're not the president
The chairperson of the party
the party. And so Chairman Freddie Blay
will be the president.
will become the president.
Yeah.
Is that
That how it works in South Africa.
But, okay, that would be great if all of South Africa belonged to ANC.
Well, at one point, Zuma had an argument before he resigned. And he said, well, the people of South Africa voted for me.
Okay, but what's the percentage of membership of ANC versus the... What percentage of the population?
At a time, they had a 63%.
63%.
In the parliament in the NA.
Okay.
Right? Though after the election, they also lost again, they shrinked to 57, I think 58. But at the time, they were 63.
But they're not... And so, yes, you can be president of ANC, all right, but the people, all of South Africa voted for
I don't know how the constitution works, and I do not know how the ANC constitution works, but it seemed to me they put the ANC constitution beyond the national constitution.
National constitution, okay.
And the other parties don't challenge that.
Okay.
Because
I think the numbers.
Because they're going to go into the election in a parliamentary election, and if one party has decided, they are majority, of course, they're still going to vote him out anyway.
I gotta go on break. This is this is too much.
It's a mess.
For me. This is too much for me. And we're going on a break. When we come back, guess what? That Ramaphosa that you're talking about, worse than Trump?
He is.
Well, he is the chairman of the entire African Union. We'll talk about that when we return. Stay tuned. This is Diaspora Weekly on Diaspora Network Television.
We wake up every morning to different stories from politics, business, sports, and entertainment. These stories, one way or the other, affect our lifestyle and dealings with family, friends, and business associates. Your take on Diaspora Network Television gives you an opportunity to have your take on these pertinent issues via phone in and messages to our social media platforms, DNT Ghana on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If it's an important trending story, we will definitely talk about it. Your take with me, Yalsichi, on DNT.
Would you buy anything without first knowing exactly what the product was and and how it could benefit you? Definitely not. Neither should you vote for your next member of parliament without knowing who they are and how they plan to solve your problems. Watch The Next MP only on Diaspora Network Television and find out the men and women who want to represent you in parliament. The Next MP only on DNT.
Welcome back. This is Diaspora Weekly on Diaspora Network Television. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and we're joined by Mary Eudice Bitiki Akwa. That's a name that's combining Ghana and Rwanda. Half Rwandese, half Ghanaian. But you claim Ghana more. We claim you.
Definitely.
They can they can stay there. Before we left, we were talking about Ramaphosa being worse than Trump. I don't know if that's possible, but you say that.
Is
I'm not going to argue with you. But now, and you know what, viewers, the African Union is supposed to be a model. Since its inception, the African Union Commission chair has been fiercely competed for. For the first time, zero competition. The incumbent Musa Muhammad Faki is going unopposed. Why? Because Ramaphosa, who is currently the chairman of African Union, and you have to understand the two. The whole African Union is made up of the leaders of the 55 countries. But these leaders are busy running their respective countries. So they've created a commission called the African Union Commission. And they've put someone at the head. That person is called the African Union Commission Chair. He executes the plans and the objectives of the missions of the African Union. And for a while, since its inception in, I think, 98 or so, every time, 4 years, the chairperson has been competed for. The first time, Faki doesn't have competition. And who do we have to thank for that? Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa. Talk to me. Is that Trump's showing up? That's the Trump dynamics where he feels like we have to be dictatorial, no competition. Is that what we're saying there?
Oh, definitely, definitely. There's he has in South Africa they call it white monopoly capital. That's how they call it in South Africa.
White monopoly capital. Okay.
Right.
So Ramaphosa has no problem having
I'll
white
come up
people
with that.
dominate.
I'll come up with that. You must understand this man as a business person.
Okay.
How did he get to that level? Because he's a millionaire, a billionaire. Now, he get there as a business person, doing business with white people, not with the black people.
But he started as a union leader.
He started as a union leader. He started as a youth leader at the time of Mandela.
Okay.
In ANC.
So, yeah, but unions are supposed to be for the workers.
Yes.
So if you're a union leader and overnight you're worth hundreds of millions.
He now, I don't know how it happened for him to get money to invest into gold and mining sector. And he went into mining sector. Just to remind you that what happened is that when they killed the black people fighting against white people for increment of their Marikana, they call it the Marikana massacre. Mm-hmm. It was Ramaphosa. It was his company. Right? Mm-hmm. And when the police shot a lot of people, until today in South Africa, they are still mourning for those people.
So why did they vote for him?
Now, this is the guy who has worked with white people. Now, we have a Musa Faki, who's there to protect white interests on African continent. Mm-hmm. Not African interests.
And he's teamed up with two.
So they have come together now to be one.
Coconuts. You said something.
In South Africa, we call it coconut.
Coconut. What's
black
a coconut?
Outside, white inside. Right?
So if you peel Ramaphosa's skin, you see white.
He's white because there's now what we call conflict of interest. They say it much more in South Africa. How do you get to elect a president who's at the same time a business person? How is he going to balance it too?
America tried it.
Same way we have now Trump.
Yeah.
A business person.
America, in Chi, they say a buaka omusim.
So he's there to protect his interest. Mm-hmm. And you must understand his family, his wife comes from also another magoo of mining sector.
Okay.
The brother happened to be the biggest
So
black.
the interest is purely
It's
business. White
It's
people.
purely business.
So if you're
they
black,
wanted him there.
So if you're black and you live in Soweto or the townships in
Guess
Cape
what?
Town,
I think for me,
you don't matter.
they fought harder for him to take presidency. And
Who-
when he
who
took
did?
white people,
Okay.
they celebrated. I was in Cape Town when Ramaphosa, when Zuma stepped down. There was cheers and celebration. While in KwaZulu-Natal and Durban, Zulus were not happy. Now we're not talking of a tribes things. Now we are talking of a racial issue here. But they won us on that level. When Ramaphosa became president, they really celebrated in Cape Town.
So
He was spotted walking on the day that Zuma was deposed at a beach with Gordon, Pravin Gordon and the other white man. I forgot his name. I remember. I will tell you later. Walking, greeting white people in the Sea Point promenade. Now, him being elected African Union.
Chairman.
I think they also clapped again. The second win.
Wow.
We got him as president of South Africa. Now we got him as African Union president.
Okay, so
it's
now
a win for them.
So that may be the reason why. Okay, so let's talk about African Union has 5 regions. Actually, some call it 6 because the diaspora is a 6th region. West Africa, Northern Africa, Eastern Africa, Southern Africa, and Central Africa, with the diaspora being the 6th region. Now, North Africa did not submit a candidate for the African Union Commission chair. East Africa did not submit a candidate. The current chair, Musa Muhammad Faki, is from Central Africa. He is running. So Central Africa did not submit a candidate. Our own Ghanaian president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, nominated Ibn Chambers to go and compete against
Musa Faki.
Musa Faki. What does Chambers do? He picks up the phone and consults with Musa Faki. Hey, they say I should run against you. Do you approve? Musa Faki said no. 48 hours later, Ibn Chambers withdraws his nomination. So now we're left with Musa Faki. So Arikana Chiombo-Requah, Dr. Arikana Chiombo-Requah, she's Ghanaian, she's Ghanaian by marriage and Zimbabwean. Zimbabwean president wants to nominate her as the candidate from SADC. But when he does, he needs the support of the South African countries.
Definitely, yeah.
And who's the chairman of African Union? Ramaphosa, who's located in Southern Africa.
Correct.
And so Mnangagwa, president of, he's trying to consult the South African presidents, Southern African presidents. Hey, I'm nominating this lady to go up against Musa Faki. Would you support me? Guess who step up? Ramaphosa. Nope, I disagree. And there goes Arikana's candidacy. So now we have only Faki going unopposed.
To me, I think there's a conflict of interest in the interference, of course, of Ramaphosa and the interference of the outside world, because they know the strength of Dr. Arikana, right? And they know that she is a radical. So there is no way that Ramaphosa was going to, because remember, he is a puppet.
Yeah.
He's an instrument of white capital monopoly.
Who is
Ramaphosa.
Okay.
So there's no way he was going to approve that. Talking of the guy from Ghana that Akufo-Addo appointed, so bad I had concerts with. I don't know why he really had to get approval from Musa Faki. But what I know, the guy is there for an agenda, and unfortunately, it's happening right in our eyes.
So
let's talk for the president. Why the East Africa didn't nominate? Well, who are the East African leaders, by the way?
we have Kagame.
Because they're all failing. Who's Kagame? Because we know very well how friendly he is with the European powers. He will go there to install them. We have seen many videos that, but when he does it in Kigali, when he goes to London or when he goes to Paris, what happens? They now have become one. So it's no longer the interest of Rwandese, because I believe he's even giving land to more to Tony Blair, to Bill Clinton. They own more.
Tony Blair owns land.
Oh
in
yes, he
Rwanda?
does. Correct, he does. Huge.
What about what is Kagame doing in DRC? Do you know about some of that?
Well, that's another whole long topic about it since 1994 to today. It's Africa is. I feel like crying when I'm thinking of this issue. Well, do we have to be selfish to think of like, okay, I have Rwanda's side, then I should always talk about Rwanda and defend them? I mean, that's not something that I can do. There's a really, really ugly story between Rwanda and Congo, and the misery and suffering of Congolese that are being caused by the neighbors. We're talking of Uganda, we're talking of Rwanda. So much interference in that country. Sending soldiers for multiple times. They themselves, they have to even fighting for gold inside another country, Eastern Congo. It's so shameful.
So who's to
BBC
blame? Is it foreign influences
Well,
or us?
I'll blame foreigners' interference, and I will blame also us ourselves. I'll blame Rwandese, I'll blame Ugandese, and I'll blame the East African that is allowing that to happen. But it's also colonial heritage. Can I give you a little background? Let me give you a little background. Rwanda and Congo was colonized by one country, and Burundi, 3 nations.
France.
Belgium.
Belgium, okay.
So it's the only 3 colonies country that were under Belgium colony in the whole continent. So they were used to call Congo Belge. At a time on colonial whatever, they were not even a colonial, they were a land owned by the King Leopold II. It wasn't just, they was there before even a colonial time. Now, Congo was the land. So Rwanda and Burundi were under the Germans. After World War II, they were given to Belgium to continue to rule with Congo. Now I want to show you in an image how they constructed these countries. They made Rwanda a country of punishment, where they build lots of prisons all across the country. So if you make a crime in Congo or in Burundi, they'll bring it to Rwanda to be prisoned. And they wanted to make a Bujumbura, which is Burundi, because of the Lake Tanganyika, whatever, a resort. Okay, and the administration was in Kinshasa. Now, when we're talking of Congo, the riches, minerals of Congo are in the eastern region of Congo, which is borders Rwanda.
Okay.
Because it was a colony of Belgium, as we speak today, Congo has no roads. It's not like it will drive from Kumasi to Accra, connect, or I can drive from Cape Town to Johannesburg.
Congo doesn't have any
It doesn't
roads.
have such a thing. We have a people who are not connected. Someone from Kinshasa to Goma, they cannot connect unless if you fly. There are no roads. That's how worse it is. Okay? And me, I like to interacting with Congolese in the midst of Kinshasa. Have you ever been to eastern region of
No.
Congo? No. Do you even know the languages that they speak in that place? No. They speak in Lingala, others speak Swahili. Right?
And the president of Congo, DRC, who's in Kinshasa, he has no control.
Technically, did you see what happened in the news recently when the soldiers went to storm and whatever for their own to be released from the prison? That is a mess in that country. So how are you going to rule a country it's not connected? There's no interconnection of the cities.
Wow.
Right? You can imagine. But now here is an interesting thing. There are roads connecting Eastern Congo, which is Goma, and Bukavu, to Rwanda, directly to Rwanda.
There's a... Wow.
The airport of Kigali that Belgium built was an airport of transportation of mineral resources. So it is easy, closer and faster and easiest to transport minerals from Congo through Kigali than Congo to Kinshasa. You have an idea?
Interesting. Interesting.
So this is a heritage of colonial heritage that we are still living today.
And what are we Africans doing about it?
That's where African Union, I'm saying, is failing. And that is where we're not coming as one.
So, if you're a viewer, let me explain how ridiculous this is. It's just like you in Ghana. We have Accra, the capital, and we have Takwa and Obuasi, where the mines are, the gold mines are. But if you're the president in Accra, you don't have any control over the mines because there are no physical roads between Accra and Obuasi, Accra and Takwa. You only have to fly to get those two places. Meanwhile, from Abidjan in the next country, Ivory Coast, there are highways that go from Abidjan to Takwa, highways that go from Abidjan to Obuasi. So guess who's going to have access to your own mines? That's the situation in DRC. And Kagame, over there in Kigali, has more access to Congolese minerals than the president of Congo who sits in Kinshasa. How ridiculous is that? But we're allowing all this to happen because African Union, as you said from the beginning of the conversation, is that it's a failing organization. So I ask you this, my final 1 minute. What can be done to rescue African Union, to make it more reflective of African development?
As I said, when we started, it starts with us, with me, as seeing myself as an African. Love my African brothers and sisters. I love other nationalities like Africans. If we can get the point of having African Union, let me not even call it African Union, just have Africa. The same way white people, they call us, I went to Africa. They don't say I came to Ghana. Or they don't say I came to South Africa, I went to Africa. If we are inside this continent, we can start seeing this continent as Africa and not as a certain individual countries, then we are winning.
Wow.
Then we can get there. Then we don't have to have a certain leader wanting some resources from that country to, because we fail to understand if we give Congo peace, Congo develops, definitely countries around it will even develop more.
Wow.
But we are delaying ourselves.
And we're
because
allowing foreign influences to dictate everything.
They put infrastructure for themselves, for their own advantages.
Yes.
When they built the airport in Kigali long ago, and the road to Eastern Congo, it was for their own interest, and we supporting them.
This is Diaspora Weekly. My guest has been Mary Udis BTK Aqua. Very knowledgeable. I appreciate you.
Pleasure.
And in ending, I have to thank my crew. Gifty, beautiful Gifty. Give me a thumbs up, Gifty. Very good. And then Thomas, great guy. Philip in the MCR, and of course, the be-all end-all Samuel Owusu-Asare. You've been watching Diaspora Weekly on Diaspora Network Television. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah. Thank you for watching.